Hello and welcome to Breakfast Central Friday edition. It is the final day in the week. And it's not the final day in the month, by the way. So today is the 7th, if I'm right. Yes, of course. And we are going into the weekend knowing fully well that the Anambra elections will be on, the gubernatorial elections in Anambra State. But then again, hope you had a wonderful night. I'm saying good morning. My name is Joe Hansen.
How will you know if they had a wonderful night? I'm
hoping, and I believe. As long as you are, once you are alive, it's a good way to just know that, listen, just be thankful. Just be thankful.
Okay.
Thankful. Yeah.
Anywho, yes, Joe has said it all. We're counting down to the Anambra elections. Over the course of the weekend, here at News Central, we'll be bringing you exceptional reporting, hour by hour, updating you regarding what the situation is in the Anambra elections. But you're welcome to Breakfast Central. We'll kickstart the elections here on the show, but that's not all that we're talking about. Very soon, after Wake Up Conversations, we'll share with you what our headlines and our top stories are today. I am Olive Emodi, and your comments are very welcome on YouTube. We're streaming live on YouTube. News Central Live is a channel. Drop your thoughts and your comments, and I'll be glad to pick them up.
That's right. Well, let's start off first with a very interesting story. Still piggybacking from the issues between the United States and Nigeria, the purported invasion. Yesterday, the president finally spoke.
Purported planned invasion, because they have not yet.
Yeah, they say it's on the way. And I did see a few statements. The Premium Times yesterday put out a story that was coined from a source in America, which actually showed the soldiers in America highlighting how they are ready to come in without wasting time. That highlighted the strategy they want to use. They mentioned some of the equipment in which they have, that some of them, once they come in, they mentioned a particular drone that when it comes in, it can stay, it can hover for as long as you want. And when it spots what it wants to spot, passing the information back to the defense quarters. And they say that is it. It can wreak havoc and then go back. And I was like, okay.
Have you seen the comments on social media?
Which one?
Where they are saying, please, is in Sambisa's house. Check very well on the map before you are sending your drones. People,
I saw a lot of them.
There's a mixture of reactions. The shock, a number of people are worried, but there are also those who seem very excited. There's also been allegations of, tension in the Middle Belt regarding this, saying that, there's some sort of tension among the people there. I agree.
And just while all of this was going on, there were also killings that took place in the past 48 hours as well, non-stop. Some Christians were mentioned to have been killed as well in the Middle Belt. We'll bring you updates on that story in particular and share with you many more stories. But this morning, let's start off with our very first salvo this morning, which focuses on the wake-up conversations. Now, if you recall, this story started off with a mere rumor. It was a rumor that one of the most important persons in the cabinet of President Bola Tinubu is ill. And while that information did come out, the presidency debunked that. And information spreading around had it that Mr. Wale Edun was not feeling too well, hence why he would not be able to attend to official business and also attend some important events. And not just that, while that rumor was swelling, the presidency quickly quelled it and said it's not true. But we're going to play you a video. In this video, we'd like you to watch carefully, and then we'll come back and highlight some things that we think we should highlight, especially going into a time where Nigeria and Nigerians deserve to know what the truth is and where we're going to. So just take a look.
To start by just thanking you, Your Excellency, and all the members of the Federal Executive Council for your tremendous support, encouragement, indeed prayers and kind wishes during my recent illness. I thank you very much.
All right. There you have it. Highlighting key incidents. Now, while we're having this conversation is because remember that when this story did come out, there were also pushbacks from members in the same cabinet who had said
I know that the most that I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, was Bayo Onanuga putting out a video of Wale Edun in an art gallery. He said that was on the 15th of October. He said Finance Minister Wale Edun visits an art exhibition in the UK. He's in the country for an officially sanctioned few days of rest from the rigors of managing the Nigerian economy. So he never overtly said that Wale Edun, Wale Edun is fine. Maybe it was a covert way of pointing our hearts into our minds into the direction of him being fine. But I don't think he expressly said that. But the feedback, I mean, I'm glad he's fine in all of this. My own joy is that he's fine, he's well. And I think that sometimes I don't have a problem with him being fine. I think it's his right to disclose if he's unwell, especially because he was not away for such a long time from the seat. It's such a sensitive time we're in now as a country. And for me, I feel like we're looking for everything to pick at the government. If he's unwell and doesn't want to tell us, it's okay. He's not the president of the country. He's a minister. He's a member of the president's cabinet, appointed by the president. We did not vote him in. He's answerable to the president, yes. Secondly, he has a responsibility to manage the economy. But can we say that in the period that he was away, there was a sharp, it had a terrible effect on the economy? I cannot say that, and I don't know that we can't say that. Secondly, was he away for such a long time? No. Nigeria should please allow people to be sick if they want to be sick and get well at their own time. So long as it's not fundamentally disrupting the way things flow, especially because, with illness, you can't detect when an illness will come and when it will go. We all just pray for long health and good health and long life. Can be sick anytime. Can wake up today feeling good, the next minute you're unwell. So, I know I've seen the reactions to Wale Edun's admission, but for me, I don't see anything wrong there. But Jude, what do you think?
Well, a good one. I think it's a two-way story, and why the story made it to wake up, it's not because one doesn't have the temerity or the right to take a break if he's ill. It's just the fact that the way stories slip out and the way it is handled was key for most persons. For some people, they thought that it would have been a good time for the presidency to clear the air and simply just leave the doubting Thomases or the rumor mongers to let them sit and say, listen, oh yes, the minister, the coordinating minister of the economy is not feeling too well.
If they have
going to take a break and so on and so forth.
Well, however, the way people
I don't think it's wrong.
You just jump in it and start creating panic.
Why? You know why I don't think it's wrong that should be done? Let me explain. Whether we like it or not, Olive, the world is now a globally small village now. It's smaller than you think. Why? Because of these guys. They're very small. And people pass around information. I'm so happy to see him. I'm so happy that he's talking. And what makes me happier is the fact that he was able to confirm in that video that, oh yes, he wasn't feeling well.
And I like him for doing that.
And I like that. In short, I'm happy when he said that. I'm like, hey, this puts an end to this entire story. Because there were stories that, maybe if you remember, some of the stories were really, really harsh. Some of them had the fact that possibly he was sick, he couldn't move his legs, he couldn't move his arms, he was incapacitated, and so on and so forth. And everybody was like, really? Is it that bad? You know what? And Nigerians are wondering, oh, really? Is that really, 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 really bad? If it's really, really bad, then we have a problem in the economy.
But again, I still take a different stance that people need to calm down. I know that our public office holders, we expect so much from them, but people need to really calm down. He's well, he's not well, how's your business? Except you want to say that he's been away from office for such a long time that he has fundamentally dealt with the economy. If that's not the case, then everybody should really just chill. And this is something that happens not just to presidents, to the president or to the ministers. Once you're a public figure, everybody feels like they have an opinion.
So what did you call it?
Public figure. That's why I'm saying that I don't see anything wrong there. Anyone who wants to have an issue with that can. Right? We're very quick to call out the government. And here on Breakfast Central, the one thing we do is we don't sugarcoat it. If we genuinely feel that this was bad behavior, Now, flip the script. If it's the president and the president is unwell, then that one we voted him in.
Do you remember the former president, former late president?
Yes.
That left power for longer
So that's what I'm
periods?
saying. That's why I asked. I said, what was the duration? Was his absence was it so long, and was it so substantial that it impacted the economy? If the answer to the both of this is no, then I think it's much ado about nothing. But unless you want to flip it to the angle of, oh, he was unwell, and then again, they had to go to London, which reflects the poor state of our healthcare and the fact that those are the upper echelons of society will always do what's best for them, and Nigerians have to bear the brunt. Except you want to bring up that angle, which
I think in your comments, you're answering all of them at the same time. So I think you're pinpointing why Nigerians are talking.
No, my initial response was to those who feel upset that the presidency lied, that say that the presidency lied. Why are they covering it up? It's nobody's business. That's what I think.
I'm of a different opinion, by the way. My opinion is when Nigeria's in a critical stance, and when you have yourself in a critical stage, I think democracy has become inclusive. And when I say inclusive, people now feel they are closer to power. And when they're closer to power, they make demands. It is something that we've seen, especially in administrations, where when people make demands of, oh, they want to know what is going on. Sadly, we've seen administrations where they tend to rebuff or call whatever questions people are asking, throw it outside and tell them, listen, we do not want to listen to what you're saying or your questions you're asking. Whatever we say stands. And people are asking questions because remember, Nigerians have also learned from the previous administration that you have a case where the president leaves power and goes for a longer time. Olive, I'm going to say it here. I understand clearly why Nigerians are asking these questions, and I'll highlight the reasons. One, the former late president had left power for months. He did not hand over. The only one time he handed over was when people said the economy had gained some strength because the vice president seemed to have taken actions that were not taken by him. But the second time, it never happened. So Nigerians have been beaten with that. Oh, okay, why is the president not on seat? What's going on? Is London the new Nigeria? That question has even been asked in this current administration, where you have the president who has jetted, who has traveled to different places as well, including France. Nigerians are asking, where are our leaders? Why are they always going abroad? What's going on? And then, remember the issue that we had of recent, the economy, the dollar exchange rate, what's happening. And then you now have the minister as well, who people are afraid of, and they say, oh, he's not feeling well. And everybody starts peddling questions.
So the question is, if the minister is away for a long time, what can you do about it?
No. Whether Nigerians can do anything or they can't do anything, what I've noticed and what I'm highlighting in this story is this. I love what the minister just did. However, I'm sure the minister also has his essay, and I'm sure that the SSA to the presidency also had spoken, but then they put out a video. It is not enough to put out a video. When people show concern and they are worried, no, I think it's also right.
Let's be honest. No, but they were not showing concern. It's not about them showing concern.
Concern can mean two things. Concern can mean you are concerned to know what is the truth. And I'll tell you why I say it's concern. There are three stories you can find in the press. One of them is from Sahara Reporters. They said he was incapacitated. He couldn't walk. He couldn't move. That's one. You also had other newspapers who are taking a story and said, oh, he's ill. When you start having stories going around like that, Olive, in public relations, as we are being taught and trained, it is your position to set the matter straight with a simple presser.
Not to be that person, but we all know how Sahara Reporters can be in terms of like how they dig out certain kinds of information.
No,
and I can't.
That's why I say.
Well,
that's why you have why this is key. We're in a world where there's misinformation and disinformation. You have to set it
I like
straight.
that we're both not on the same side
of course, we don't have to be.
And for me, like the final thought as we move to our next conversation is, yes, he's a minister. He was not appointed by any of us. Yes, he's serving the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Noted.
He was appointed by the president, approved by the Senate. His absence, he has a right to be ill. You can't decide whether or not to be ill.
Nobody argues
and then
that.
they don't owe us that. Especially, I don't think they came out trying to say, oh, this is a rumor, he's unwell. But the reason I can understand why they may not have admitted to it at first, especially because those kind of information will throw the states into panic. People will start to feel, oh,
so you're echoing what I'm saying.
You know why?
Too.
So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't necessary because there's some information that is being managed. It's not everything that they share with us, even in the area of security, because they feel that this is going to cause unnecessary panic. And I think that was within his right to decide whether or not to share that publicly. I
think as we move, we're both saying the same thing. Whether they don't, and I don't want to believe that they don't owe us the right. I don't believe in that.
So that's why I'm saying we're not.
I think government owes the people because it is democracy.
I agree.
Government by the people.
I agree. Yes. But in a case where someone is ill and is taking a break, he has people that are working with him.
We had.
There isn't anything that has
yesterday in America.
Let's ask.
Yesterday in America, while a member of the what's his name? I can't remember his designation, was talking to the press. Someone fell off.
That one was very glaring.
We've also had issues in other countries.
Joe, that one was glaring.
A minister
while you're on stage and you collapse.
The minister collapsed.
That's a different case, Joe.
I agree.
That one, you have to explain because it was public. It is private. It's private to him. Anyway, but let's ask our viewers on YouTube.
Let's know what you think. Do you think?
And it's okay, to choose which side.
Owes the people.
That's not the question. The question is it that much of a big deal that they did not disclose that Wale Edun was unwell? Was it that much of a big deal?
Okay.
I think that's where we differ.
Let's get it. I think it was a big deal.
Okay,
I think they should have. And I'm happy that he's fine because there's nothing as good as one who has joined a team, or better still, a administration, and completes what he's doing.
All right, let's move to the next conversation and talk about the Senate. Reports have it that the Senate has ordered NAFDAC to ban sachet alcohol by December 2025. So those of you that buy, those little ones, in a few weeks you won't be able to. The Senate has directed the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to enforce a total ban on the production and sale of sachet alcoholic drinks by December 2025. This resolution followed a motion raised during plenary on Wednesday, November 6, 2025, amid growing concerns over the health and social impacts of cheap, high-volume alcohol consumption among youths. And the lawmakers urged NAFDAC to intensify awareness campaigns and provide a clear phase-out plan for manufacturers ahead of the deadline, stressing that the measure is necessary to curb substance abuse and protect public health. And why this is important is because with the penetration of alcohol in our society, the fear of fake alcoholic brands, not everybody can buy the big bottles, but the sachet ones are easily accessible. They're accessible to young people, they're accessible to teenagers, and for a number of people, it's hard to be able to adjust to the fact that, people, your child, your teenagers can easily purchase. We're not in a country where if you need to buy alcohol, they will ask for your ID. So I'm fully in support of whatever measure they need to implement to reduce this, because I would shudder to imagine. It's true, Joe, teenagers, they have access to these. But much more than banning that, I think my concern is also NAFDAC ensuring that there's a management and quality control regarding the quality of alcohol. You can't stop people from drinking alcohol. People will always drink alcohol. But to ensure that the quality of what is brought into Nigeria matches, global standards, and that we're not selling fake alcohol and having a kidney problem on our hands. I think that's more my concern. We
already have that. We already have a health challenge already with this entire process. But my worry, I always have a worry whenever you see stories like this. But kudos to Senator Asukwe Ekpenyong of Cross River South. He's the one who was canvassing for the ban of sachet alcoholic brands or drinks. However, this is not the first time. Last year or early this year, it was started by NAFDAC that they're going to place a ban on it. So what they did was they did give a duration in which this ban will come into effect, or better still, the ban would actually happen. However, they decided to extend it, and the extension has led to what we have today, that it would be finally extended to December. Although we also hear that while the senator was bringing this up, stakeholders, of course, stakeholders, which has to do with both the sellers, the companies, the manufacturers, the producers, are equally asking for more time. They're asking that it should be further extended. But extension at what risk? The risks are so much so that it continues to show that if these actions are not taken, then there will be a major problem. I'll give you an example. You've mentioned them already. Motor parks. It's so bad that you now have children buying it.
And because we don't
naira.
do IDs,
it's 100 naira.
Anybody can go and buy it. They would assume
this morning, guess what? It's exactly what I saw this morning, because every morning I come out, you see these women, they are there with their buckets, 100 naira, and they have it, the white buckets, you have them. And you see these guys lined up. The drivers are all stoned because that's what they used to start, that's what they used to brush their teeth. However, the sachets have also contributed to the environmental decay.
Litter.
Blocking the drainages, you find them everywhere. They take these things and they threw them away. But if you look at the risks, it seems to be more. And I think I support this. The ban is very important. They have to. The FCCPC, NAFDAC, these agencies have been mentioned to support and ensure that this ban is carried out. How soon? That's what we're waiting for. Is it going to be another talk shop or another walk in the park where everything is being said but nothing is being done? We'll also wait to see, and hopefully something will happen at the end of the day. So kudos to the Senate on this.
Might I just add that while we're talking about banning alcohol, banning sachet alcohol, again, we reinforce our operations, NAFDAC's operations, to ensure that original alcohol is what is being imported and that there isn't any, any fake alcoholic brand, because that affects our livers. But then again, I want to piggyback to the conversation we had yesterday about the people who have started to use chemical to ripen their food. NAFDAC has its work cut out for it. Those who are using, I was seeing people using Sniper, using detergents. You buy plantain and plantain no longer tastes like plantain.
No.
They say they use carbide to ripen the plantain. We have a lot. So
we have a problem.
NAFDAC needs to work maybe the National Orientation Agency to be able to, first of all, set down the message of how much of a health emergency that is, how much of a health crisis we're brooding for in the next few years. We'll see the effect of all of these. And then let them know that this is a criminal act. They're pushing for a bill to criminalize it. And then to ensure that people who are involved in this will be automatically dealt with. But while this is going on, we then need to fix certain things, like ensure that we have power. There's a lot of investment in agricultural sector so that we don't record a lot of post-harvest loss. It's a whole chain. Another thing that contributes to that would also be insecurity. Security is a big factor when it comes to post-harvest loss. The people who are supposed to go to the farms can't go to the farms because they're afraid for their lives.
I agree.
Speaking about insecurity, it's a key issue that Nigeria is dealing with, which is why Donald Trump has stepped into the arena. This time, he says he stepped in to protect the lives of the Christians who have been killed in the middle belt of Nigeria. However, some Nigerians are not taking this lightly. They're saying, you know what? We don't want Donald Trump. That's what they're saying. And this is the video of some Nigerians protesting the planned invasion of the President of the United States.
Give us a logo, America. Give us a logo. Give us a logo. Give us a logo, America. Give us a logo. Give us a logo. Give us a logo. Give us a logo, America. Give us a logo. Give us a logo. Give us a logo, America. Give us a logo. Give us a logo.
Olive. That's what they call a mini-size protest. But then again, these are Nigerians who are exercising their rights. I'm shocked the police did not stop them. They did not tear gas them. Why didn't they tear gas them? Where is the CP of Lagos State? Why didn't they tear gas them? Why are they protesting? Why are they disturbing? Because they're disturbing the peace.
This is valid.
Nigerians. Why?
Even when they already had now been saying their mists.
Maybe Shore should have protested. Maybe you should do this protest. Would they tear gas him?
Joe, please, if you ask me now, who I go ask?
Anyway, let's see what Nigerians are saying regarding this protest. It's very key. And let's see what they have to say about this. Daniel Rega says, aha, notice how the Nigerian police are not stopping them this time. If this was a protest against anything about the government, it would be all hands on deck. Okay, at least someone else is seeing it from that side, that angle as well. And ISIP says definition of a staged protest So Nigerians are protesting against the US stepping in, but won't protest against the suffering, corruption and insecurity that made the world even discuss intervention in the first place. Sometimes I wonder if we love our chains too much. When leadership fails and citizens stay silent, outsiders will always find a reason to intervene. And that's what ISP says. Martins says, what a shameful country and a shameful citizens, instead of protesting for better government, because right now the world is watching. If we protest and the government doesn't improve, we will surely have different nations support. Oh my God, OMG, I can't believe I'm crying for these people. That's what Martins says. Oladele says, peaceful protest is a constitutional right, and Nigerians have every reason to stand against any foreign military intervention in our country. Our sovereignty is not for negotiation. Dialogue, diplomacy, and homegrown solutions must always come before foreign boots on Nigerian soil. Yes, Oladele has said so. And let's take one more tweet. Only VDM. This is a shame and embarrassing to Nigeria that the police and government authorities can allow this kind of staged protest, but shot tear gas the citizens when they willingly protested peacefully to plead and demand good government from them. Only VDM says. And it's a highlight. And Ziki says, I don't blame them. After the government has made life so difficult for them, they now give them 5K. And it's like hope alive for them. Last time youth did a peaceful protest in the country at Lekki Gate, it ended in bloodshed from our government. But this is Nigeria. And I'm sure a lot of persons will keep talking about it and they wouldn't stop. Ima Show says, let me guess, no tear gas was shot. Neither was any of them declared wanted. We know what we are doing in this country. Once a protest is about the masses and demanding of accountability, police will begin to arrest people. Bah, he asks a question. And that's all we're taking.
In addition to that, on YouTube, hello to our YouTube audience. Good morning and thank you for joining us this morning. Ikechukwu Victory in response to, okay, no, not this one. He had said earlier, and this is in response to the argument we had about if it was much of a big deal. Yeah. So I'll start from the top. Oh no, let me start from the bottom. Ikechukwu Victory says, I disagree with Olive. Every public office holder, elected or not, owes an explanation to the masses on, also an explanation to the masses on the state of their health, especially when it causes them to be absent from duty. This is also part of accountability, Ikechukwu Victory says. Mokunye Chukwuemeka says, I don't think it's a big deal that Wale Edun was unwell. If it were the president, then I would say yes. Remi Adeleke, I have to give you a glass of water because why are you parrying for us? He says, what is the big deal in someone being sick? We are all humans. I beg, if you are short of topics to discuss, close shop. How did we offend you? Should we give you a glass of water? Chill. And in reaction to the police firing, the police not stopping the protesters and that point that you raised, Ikechukwu Victory says, no police is stopping them. Anyway, these are the comments that we have on YouTube. Keep the comments coming, and as we progress with the show, I'll be checking online from time to time to get your thoughts. But now let's share with you what our top stories are.
Welcome back. Speaking at the Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu restated his administration's commitment to defeating terrorism and deepening diplomatic cooperation following U.S. President Donald Trump's threat of possible military action against terror groups in Nigeria over alleged mass killings of Christians. Recall that Trump claimed that the Nigerian government allowed the killing of 3,100 Christians in 1 year. According to the BBC, the data gotten from Open Doors charity also records 2,320 Muslim deaths over the same 12-month period and attributed nearly 1/3 of Christian deaths to groups labeled Fulani terror groups. Meanwhile, Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, who was here on our primetime program Politics HQ, insists that bandits are reasonable human beings who should be pacified rather than eliminated. He argued that even the United States of America could not defeat insurgents in Afghanistan and Syria. However, in an interview with us again, Zibi Yusuf, former national coordinator of the Middle Belt Patriots, countered Gumi's stance, accusing him of enabling terrorism through repeated calls to appease violent group instead of demanding justice for the victims. Take a look at the video.
So many cases. I think we Muslims, what we need to do now is to bring out to public the names of those who are killed and massacred in the southern, in the Middle Belt region. That is a mandatory for us now, so that the swing of the information will not tilt against what is happening. It's two people fighting. It's a case of two-sided fight with both sides having casualty. To paint it as Muslims killing, I wonder if Muslims are killing Christians. I don't know if there will be any Christian left to be talking to you on the TV with the viciousness of.
Gumi. So I mean, you've established from your perspective also a pattern. But what have we been getting wrong? Why is it that we are still back to this same conversation of insecurity? You've been part of the process. I mean, you've been pretty much.
The situation is improving. The interference of America will only worsen it. This is what we are saying. But gradually, Nigerians are healing slowly and gradually.
So for you, you feel that the security situation. You feel the security situation in the country is improving.
Their precedents tells you that these are people who lie behind moral issues and attack people for their resources. We have seen that in Libya, we have seen that in Iraq, we have seen that even recently in attacking Iran over its peaceful nuclear. So what will they do with Nigerians too? And you see, this Republican Party, especially now that we have zealots evangelical Christians in power, they are anti-Muslims. They have an Islamophobia. And this is so evident. Look at the election in New York City, whereby a Muslim mayor, modern, moderate Muslim, very eloquent, coming out, people want him, and Trump is also threatening that he will cut off funds from New York City just because he's a Muslim. With this Islamophobia, how can I accept Trump to come into this country? He's just coming here to fight Muslims. And so instead of fighting terrorists, the whole Islamic world, the Muslim will just...
All right, you can go on YouTube to watch that full episode or edition of Politics HQ. Quite heated and very key to the current situation Nigeria is bedeviled with, which is insecurity. Well, joining us here in the studios, we have Principal Partner at Monarchy and Associates Consulting, Akinkunmi Von Thomas. He's here with us. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Pleased to be here this morning.
Great. I'm sure you followed through with the interview, and you do understand why it's very important that this conversation would be taken in context, especially from statements made in that interview. How insurgents are indeed to be viewed, and most importantly, what we are facing right now in terms of the United States' proposed invasion. First of all, let me get your take on that proposed invasion. I don't think we spoke about it the last time you came.
No, we didn't.
All right.
We didn't touch on that. Well, the proposed invasion was a joke I cracked that if the same nation that wants to help one way or the other will present somebody wanting to correct the same President Trump by shooting his ear first to correct their assumed security capacity, and Charles Kirk being just knocked off publicly. Until date, we don't come up with something on that. I don't think such public loop should be ignored enough for such a person to bring on the audacity of wanting to help a particular sect or a particular side of the country. But if I want to lean on what, I like to call him Baba Gumi, what is coming up on, we are not agreeing that external help is what we need right now. But if they need to come up with a list of people that are hurt too, it will just, make public the fact that insecurity is standard in the country. It should not become an argument of one side to another. And even the people in the East too, if they have a list, will come out with it. But I think what we should focus on is what are we doing? Not like we are submitted to the US, enough to a tweet, just bringing stupid confusion, like everybody carefully, you know, class captains and not, they don't have such authority to bring confusion in the class.
Okay. So I will talk about this class captain's role in a moment. Let's go on a very quick break. And when we come back, we'll be expanding further, especially looking at the role of Sheikh Gumi following from that interview. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Central. We're still looking at the state of insecurity, Nigeria being designated a country for particular concern, as well as the latest comments by Sheikh Gumi and we also have Yusuf, who's former national coordinator of the Middle Belt Patriots. And we're joined this morning by Akikumi Von Thomas. Thank you once again for being here.
Thank you.
I want to make reference to that interview clip that we started the interview with, where there was an argument and Sheikh Gumi was being accused of propagating insecurity, basically because of the negotiations that happened with terrorists. And we have seen many people put forth that argument about how terrorists are given some form of unfair treatment, unfair advantage. And once they denounce their terrorism, they are de-radicalized, they're given the best quality of life. But the government will say that is the non-kinetic approach to dealing with insecurity. And Sheikh Gumi, of course, believes that it's done everywhere, even in America. That's what he believes. But let's get your thoughts. Do you think that this has in any way further amplified the struggle with insecurity?
I thought of something this morning. If you are not touched by an issue, it's easy to speak a lot of English. The concerns of families that are being touched by these things, or these situations, or this insecurity, they're not understanding amnesty or arrangements we're doing like we're doing, and we're not doing it properly. We're not servicing their conscience and welfare as to their loss. When Bagumi is talking, is there a religious sect from what side doing this damage? There is a claim that damage has been done to the Christians and also to the Muslims. But which sect, which religion is this coming from? Has that been addressed enough for the religious bodies that represent that religion to come out to denounce these people, to say they might claim they are part of us, but they are not? That voice is very necessary. But in the quietness of how everybody begin to dilly-dally of how a set of person will rise up, will go into the midst of these people, go with government officials, go and talk. Well, we say dialogue, but the dialogue makes us to know that we know these people, they know what they are doing, and amnesty or not, they're just going scot-free. They're going scot-free. So I don't see Baba Gumi he's not an ambassador. He doesn't have that office we have so enriched, such that we have empowered him to always sit to interface for the country. No, he's not in that place. But we've given it to him. But either way, is he addressing the fact that these people are shouting rhetorics from a particular religion that you are claiming this same set of people killing Christians and killing Muslims? Do we agree on that? Maybe somebody might look at this talk on genocide or insecurity from that angle when it comes to religion. That which religion are these people claiming to be part of? And other parties that represent that same religion, have they denounced these people? That no, they might be sounding like our religion, but they are not a part of us. Nobody has done that. Rather, we are going on to negotiations continuously.
So if I hear you correctly, you're talking about the leaders from this religion.
Yes.
And, without trying, a number of them have, the religion being accused in this instance is the Islamist, because they refer to them as Islamist terrorists.
Yes.
So you're saying that you
have they been denounced?
That a number of key leaders in the in the fold of Islam should speak against it and say, these people are not part of us. Is that what you mean?
Very strong. Okay. And it's very important. What it will now do, it will categorize their terrorism. That these people are just plain terrorists. They will not use a show of, this is the sect, because as they keep amplifying the sect they belong to, Do you need to ask a Nigerian to ask you, are you afraid of Muslims? You don't need to ask a Nigerian. They do it. We've not have a public representation of what has been done properly as a secular nation. Are we not a secular nation? What has been done secularly about it? Nothing. So there is this secret and quiet fear about the religion. I think they should do a lot about talking like that, rather than when you keep quiet about it, like you can't talk about it, then we that are not part, or people that are not part of it, they are growing quietly afraid of a religion. So I'm calling out that, look, if these people are not representing your religion, have you denounced them publicly? Let's start from there. Rather than just the public negotiation you go to, and we say they even know where they are. They even know what to say to them. They even bring them out and they say, okay, they've repented. I say, have we answered to the welfare of those that have got, that their families have been involved in this massacre? We need to balance that, because when I was looking at this issue on Trump's tweet, the nation does not owe President Trump to begin to, without even asking them anything. Everybody is shaking and running up and down. What I expect the nation to do is that the government should rise up on diplomatic front, on a, they should be coherent to make statements that make people know that these people are in charge. These people know what they're doing. What have you people done? You state it publicly. We know, and we know what you're doing. We know what the government is doing. So you can't claim to be doing what you're not doing. So if they had come out and they had said, this is how far we have gone, this is what we are doing in this and this place, and correction is being made, they don't need to say they are answering Trump. But everybody looking from the outside will say, this nation, they are in charge. So anybody that wants to,
do you feel that they're not, with the way we're doing, with the way we are going now, since the statement was made and the video by Donald Trump, every quarter in the presidency is starting to talk. Everybody is talking. At first, you even had an SSA who said that the president was going to meet with Trump on Tuesday, just 2 days or 3 days after the announcement. Okay. And that statement actually came from the presidency, an SSA to the president. Okay. And later on, another SSA who was here with us live debunked that statement and said, no, the president is not going to meet. So do you think that this grandeur statement made by Trump has shaken the core of the presidency to the point that we're starting to see what ought to have been done since? Did they have to wait for Trump to speak? No, they don't have to wait. And you asking me, do I think he's shaking their table? Obviously. He's not shaking their table alone. He's shaking the whole nation. He's shaking the whole nation, which means they are not in charge, which means they don't actually have what to present as an answer to what is being brought public. If somebody is saying something is wrong in your house about your children, and the children come out well-dressed, they're doing fine, you are giving an answer that makes them quiet. They don't even publicly, people will say, I don't understand. What is your business with this family? This family seems to be doing fine. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, your statement earlier, you were speaking to the fact that what they should be doing, what the government should be doing, is aligning on foreign policy and showing what they have done so far. And in response to that, Bayo Onanuga had, on his X page, he had put out a press release from the DSS, and it was said that the title is Terrorism. DSS gives update on prosecution of terror suspects. Then he explains on November 19, Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja will continue the trial of 2 terrorism suspects, Mahmoud Mohammed Usman and Abubakar Abba, who are wanted internationally. He goes on to explain, some of the other things and, gives background to it. And we've seen a number of explanations like this about, we've captured this number of terrorists, we've killed this number of terrorists. And then we've also seen recently the Foreign Minister, Yusuf Tuga, in Berlin was showing the Constitution and telling people that, this Constitution, our Constitution allows for freedom of religion.
Which Constitution?
If our producers have the clip at some point, I'm hoping that we can play.
We'll get that clip.
Okay.
Yeah, so he says that our Constitution allows for freedom of religion. So it feels like now there's been explanation upon explanation. An explanation that some don't believe, as we've seen the pushback, because if you look on social media, people are tagging President Trump everywhere.
Yes.
Posts
everywhere.
They're tagging him to post. So this reactionary, because it seems sort of reactionary move, how better could this have been done? And what can Nigerians, a number of Nigerians don't seem to believe what they're saying.
Okay, let's do it like this. For the insecurity in Nigeria right now, everywhere that is being affected, the people living there know. All you need to make statement of, because even us in Lagos, it's the news we hear here and there, but the people feeling it right now, the people that are suffering insecurity right now, it's not a distance, it's not a dream. It's something that is located at a place. So if you come out and you say there are 16 places right now that are undergoing insecurity, and this is what we have done. This is what we have done. Or you show the chief of staffs talking about their deployment and what they've done and what they've achieved so much that they can prove with facts that this was I think it will address better than telling us one terrorist, two terrorists. What we're going through is more than that. So you just tell me in so-so-so states, at so-so-so place, this is what they are going through right now, this is what we have deployed, and this is the result we have gotten. I think that is more sensible to me.
Okay, before we wrap up, I will come to share the numbers that the presidency has shared in this regard. But we have a clip we want you to take a look at. Okay. This Zari, who is, of course, the former national coordinator of the Middle Belt Patriots, as well as President Tinubu's response to all of this drama. Let's take a look and we'll come back.
The task ahead is immense. We are engaging the world diplomatically. And I assure all of you that we will, defeat terrorism in this country.
Where have we been getting it wrong as a nation? Why are we still having this conversation even after many years and several efforts?
One of the key reasons why we are getting it wrong is because of people like Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi. In a clear case of a war, because he's talking about bloodshed, there has been bloodshed. Nigeria has been a theater of war for almost 2 decades. Possibly it is not affecting him directly because most of the casualties, most of the mass murders is that of Christians. He appears to be a negotiator, but to be very honest with you, he has advocated more for appeasing the terrorists rather than advocating justice for the victims. And I think it's important to us because I believe he's an Islamic cleric. He understands the concept of justice. How do you deal with a scenario of people raping women, people killing soldiers, people decimating homes, people sacking communities, but then the strength of your advocacy is that the government should appease them? Where in the whole world, in the history of any war, whether guerrilla warfare, whether military warfare, have you ever found a situation where there is an active bloodshed going on, and then you believe that appeasing the criminals that are carrying out these genocidal attacks and infusing them into the military will help? From the very beginning, when the notion of amnesty, de-radicalization, and integration began, we have never seen a scenario where these repentant terrorists, as they call them repentant, have ever led people to their camps and they were decimated. They have been growing exponentially. They have been acquiring more arms. So that is basically the problem we are having. We are getting it wrong simply because we have managed to create a false narrative. An example is we have managed to compartmentalize terrorism or these Islamist activities to look as if it is only Boko Haram that is doing it. The reason is because the rest of the terrorist groups that are jihadist in nature have been forged into different names. For instance, he's talking about two fighting. There is no two fighting anywhere. It is important also, we would love it if you are able to have an example of one Christian militia that is operational in either Sokoto or any of the Muslim dominant state that have been raping women and killing people, then we can understand that. And at least the Muslims will equally lend their voice and say, okay, whatever it is the Americans are claiming that the Christians are suffering from, we are also suffering from it. And since it is all about eradicating terrorism, then good, come and eradicate them. But I think the problem is not just because there are foot soldiers who are killing people. It is because there are people who are sympathetic to the jihadist cause. There are people who are sponsoring them.
The former national coordinator of the Middle Belt Patriots, Zari Yusuf, and you can see how he was very strongly putting his accusation against Sheikh Gumi and the fact that he's criticized two fighting. He says there's no two fighting there. But But I want to talk about the U.S. Congress pushing for sanctions against Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association and individuals and organizations who have knowingly restricted religious freedom. They've talked about visa bans, asset freezing. How important? Do you think that this is important? Do you think that it is necessary? And do you think that this will actually happen?
That will bring about a political undertone, that it's a side of the government that are pushing for what we are going through, whereas what we're going through is public and very clear. So that approach from President Trump, I don't know what to add to it, but it will not help us in this country.
What do you think will help?
Well, when that man was speaking right now, anytime you go for negotiation, I'm a veteran, anytime you go for negotiation, what you need to do is to ask for cause. I've never seen where the cause of whatever they are doing has been stated. So that clarifies terrorism. Now, when you go, on what base do you people meet to talk and negotiate? Is it that we know you are terrorizing Nigeria, we can't handle it for now, let's give you some money so that you calm down? Or this is what you are asking for because this is what Nigeria has done and you are not happy? Because there must be a cause. But I've never seen...
just like the Niger Delta.
Yeah. Niger Delta, you know what they are... You know how you can go into them and tell them this is not and this is what you should do. If you go to EPOB, you know clearly what is happening. But for this agenda, it is a strategy that is so structured that foolishly we're just dancing to it like we don't know what is happening. So I still emphasize that the Islamic side of it all should stand up to let us know. If you people are not backing what is happening, then you should stand up, let's know what we are fighting. Because for you people claiming that it's Christians and Muslims that are both killed, who is killing? The people that are killing, what religion are they claiming? If it is Islam, then the Islamic end should stand up and let us understand what we're talking about.
All right. Very anyway, interesting discourse there.
I think my question would also be that just not too long ago, a few months ago in the fight against this terrorism, you had Zamfara State Governor, His Excellency Dauda Lawal, come out to say that he knows the terrorists. Okay. He knows where they live.
He said it publicly.
Yes.
Yes, in a press. He had a press conference. He knows where they live. He knows who they are. He can even watch. He knows when they are moving. As a security expert, as a veteran, when such statements are made in a saner climb, what should be the first point for our security architecture, knowing that somebody who is a sitting governor has made such strong statements? What could have we, or what should we have expected as Nigerians?
There's an obvious conspiracy that has been put as a strategy on this nation, that until the presidency or the government can stand up to say there is no secret agenda over Nigeria as it concerns our safety, I don't think we are safe.
Do you think there's a secret agenda, by the way?
No. A secret agenda is public when even the president cannot stand up to speak. Have you heard which president in Nigeria do you know has the audacity and speaks outrightly? I don't want to name him. That's Obasanjo. That's Obasanjo. Yeah. The presidency, you don't need to be diplomatic if you are in charge of your game, sir. You come outright and you say, this is the problem these people are giving me and they need to go. But you know, a lot of things are just tied up in this layer of amnesty, civil conflict. Let's leave EPOB out of it. Let's leave Niger. We know their problems. Let's not mix it up together. I'm talking about President Trump making a statement towards Nigeria, and it is not Christians and Muslim talk. Who is causing it? It's from the Islamic end. Now, if the Muslims will agree that no, we don't do this, stand up and speak. President can't stand up to speak. The sects can't stand up to speak. When military or governors even want to speak, when that governor came out, I thought everybody will just connect with it, and as a nation that is still safe, that is not under a conspiracy, everybody will say, then what are we waiting for?
He's the man. Let's go to him. He has the information. So let's get the information from him and activate, right?
And sort it out.
Just so we're clear, when you say that you want the Muslims to rise up and speak,
sorry, let me correct that. I'm not talking to the Muslim. I'm bringing out a fact that the problem we're going through, the terrorists are claiming to be Muslims. Everybody, not Muslims alone, everybody should stand up to clear themselves away from these sets of people for them to know they are on their own. So it affects the Muslim religion too.
Yeah.
So it's a general thing.
So, but are there like key persons? Because I know that there are Christians and there are Muslims that have criticized the acts of these terrorists. They are constantly, because we are all affected by it. But are there key persons or key offices that you think need to take a stand?
First, the presidency. You have a Muslim ticket. The first person that has the greatest voice to speak against this is the president, very clearly. Even to defend and back up your Muslim ticket is for you to rise up and speak, so that we know there is no Islamic agenda all over the country.
Well, I'm just going to take one more question, and my question would border on the fact that Trump has given, it's like Trump has given the Nigerian presidency or Nigerian president an ultimatum.
Can you imagine?
I mean, telling him, if you don't, we're going to act and it's going to be sweet. I was highlighting that with what I saw on Premium Times. Premium Times had gone far into the United States media space as well, following the conversation. And they highlighted that the soldiers are already starting to get excited, that they cannot wait to use the drones. They were explaining the type of drones they're going to use, the one that could hover on the air and stay for hours before it hits precisely at its target, and then it can move back. Also in this country, Mr. Von Thomas, it's worrying, because this same country, we did hear that the United States military team did come in and rescue one of their own.
Yes.
They rescued one of their own. Broad daytime. They came in, one of theirs was abducted from, we hear, Niger, and was brought in within our shores. The American army, the U.S. Army came in, rescued their own, and they left.
Yeah. Without confusion. Without confusion. But
how come it is that our own, here, we can't do the same?
Well, let me tell you the drama we are playing with. The drama we're playing with is this. For Chad, Cameroon, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, those gates, we need to man them very quickly, because you can call a primary school student in Nigeria to say your what's this ID card we have, this national ID
card.
They were publicly displayed that multiple national ID cards were multiplied and what they call it now? Duplicated, many of it. Almost all of them were not Nigerians. They came in through a gate. We know that politically, that people from other countries were brought in for election, and it was public. It was not.
Yeah, we saw the trucks at the video.
It was not hidden. And when you have made a negotiation with such people to come in, because there was a time that in Nigeria we just started seeing people we're not seeing in the southwest, the east, having wheelbarrow, yam, watermelon, and bikes appearing, staying in uncompleted buildings. I challenge a Nigerian to walk up to them and ask them, where are you from? Some of them are so stupid. Some of them are so stupid that they will tell you where they are from. Some of them are so stupid, they will tell you where they are from, that they are not Nigerians. The influx of them came in. The political end of it, or whatever they had in mind, but whatever they were promised as they were coming in, they know with the way they've infused themselves into the country, if they are not giving, it was all what I'm saying is not me speaking out of being a professional. It's in the public. Because most of them said, look, we don't have a problem with you Nigerians. It's your government that gave us guns. That should be taken up, it should be made public, and it should be dealt with. We're not fools. This is psychological warfare, that is ongoing, and the strategy is working. So what I'm saying about our borders is the fact that a set of persons have joined us. We are not all totally Nigerians. And if they are going to be useful for a political front of a set of persons, then we are in trouble if those people are the ones in the rule now, if they are the ones ruling now. So they can't outrightly agree that these people should leave the country. Am I speaking in parable?
I get your point.
They can't tell them outrightly, leave our country.
We're done.
Because there's a contract. There's a contract. There's a conspiracy on ground. And the side of it that makes me to emphasize why the Muslim side of all Nigerians should rise up and deny these people being part of them is the fact that most of these people that came from all these countries I call Chad, Cameroon, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, I don't see any Christian group in them, or I don't see any cultural group in them. So how should they be managed? Have they been brought in for the religious strength or political strength? Because what our source of insecurity, the loudest part of our insecurity, is from the fact that there are strangers in our midst, and the people that ought to fight them that are in government, that got into politics one way or the other, are finding it very hard to say, leave our country, because there was a contract they must have had together. They should sort them out and let them go.
Okay, we'll put a pin on the conversation there, but it doesn't come to an end here. We'll continue to talk about it. Akinkunmi, Yvonne Thomas, thank you very much for joining us.
We look forward to have you again.
We look forward to having you again.
It's a developing story.
Yes,
we don't know what Trump will trump up.
And we can see the YouTube comments. When we come back from the break, we'll take more comments on YouTube and have our guests react to that as well. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, Breakfast Central continues.
Finance, Wale Edun says that the nation has witnessed a visible economic growth trajectory in the last few months, showing signs of strong recovery and investor confidence. Edun made this known after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting, saying that the federal government has continued to witness major gains under the renewed hope agenda. New Central State House correspondent Bettina Willie reports.
At the Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, announced that Nigeria's GDP grew by 4.23% in the second quarter of 2025, the highest in a decade outside the post-COVID rebound.
In Q2 2025, Nigeria's GDP grew by 4.23%, the highest in a decade outside the COVID rebound. As the consumer spending basket published earlier this year shows, our citizens now spend maybe about half of their income on basic needs, food, shelter, and clothing. And that's compared with almost 90% previously. This signals a country moving from subsistence towards productivity and indeed affluence.
Edun also confirmed Nigeria's removal from the Financial Action Task Force grey list, describing it as a major milestone in strengthening financial integrity and investor confidence. President Bola Tinubu commended the progress, emphasizing that the oversubscription of the Eurobond reflects international confidence in Nigeria's economic direction.
Despite the political headwind and the fear of our people, we continue to engage with our partners. The success of the 2.3 billion bond subscription, oversubscribed, is the most at this stage. So the task ahead is immense. We are engaging the world diplomatically.
Nigeria's removal from the Financial Action Task Force grey list, FATF grey list, marks a major milestone in strengthening our financial integrity and confidence.
In a related development, Dr. Bernard Doro and Dr. Kingsley Ude have been sworn in as Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction and Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, respectively.
As a Minister of the Government of the Federation, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully, and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
With deepening fiscal and policy reforms, President Tinubu says that the current administration will continue to attract both local and foreign investment in a bid to drive job creation, infrastructural renewal, and inclusive growth. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
The federal government has begun disbursing 10 million naira interest-free loans to staff of Nigeria's tertiary institutions under the Tertiary Institutions Staff Support Fund. The initiative, unveiled at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, is aimed at improving welfare and boosting productivity among academic and non-academic staff. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, says that the scheme reflects the administration's commitment to human capital development and the sustainability of the education sector.
It's carefully designed to support every component of your welfare. This money could be used for housing, transportation, healthcare, small business, or some social support that you want.
I wish to commend all partners and stakeholders, specifically the Bank of Industry, who have contributed to the conception and the design of this fund.
We are selected as a beneficiary, another attestation. Just want to thank you for the efforts you are making towards ensuring that there is peace in our universities.
All right. Disbursement, and that's definitely what Nigerians are also looking forward to see. But let's tell you that the U.S. right-wing lawmakers have called for a ban on Sharia law in Nigeria, a move strongly rejected by Northern Elders. The Northern Elders Forum and the coalition of Northern groups described the proposal as a direct assault on Islam, stressing that Northern states will not bow to pressure from Washington or even from President Donald Trump. Now, recall that Trump claimed that the Nigerian government allowed the killing of 3,100 Christians in 1 year. Well, according to the BBC, the data gotten from Open Doors charity also records 2,320 Muslim deaths over the same 12-month period, and attributed nearly one-third of Christian deaths to groups labeled Fulani terror groups. Meanwhile, the U.S. House of Representatives has recommended targeted sanctions against individuals and organizations, including Miyetti Allah and its affiliates, over alleged religious freedom violations. The resolution was introduced on Tuesday, urging both the U.S. State and Treasury Departments to take action. We'll be having a guest who's joining us to discuss on this issue, the National Secretary of Arewa Consultative Forum, Mr. Tukur Mohammed Baba, and we'll be looking into this new statement coming from the United States of America. But we'll do this. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive into this conversation. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here. After that break, the United States, in a move, is looking to sanction Miyetti Allah, and they say this is imperative because of its role that the body has to play, especially with Nigeria's rising insecurity. How true is that? Just as we mentioned before the break, we do have Professor Tukur Mohammed Baba, who is joining us. He is the National Secretary of the Arewa Consultative Forum. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning to you. A little correction. I'm the National Publicity Secretary, not the National Secretary.
Noted. Apologies for that. Apologies for that. Anyway, thanks for joining us and thanks for making our time. Let's move straight into it. I'm sure you are aware of what's happening, especially in Nigeria, with President of the United States and the rising insecurity and the proposed move to ensure that the United States Army has its boots on the ground. And just recently, a new development, Miyetti Allah has been appointed as one body that should also receive sanctions. What's your thought on that?
Well, it's kind of ridiculous. I don't know that Miyetti Allah is an organization with all the parameters that defines it as such. To the best of my knowledge, Miyetti Allah is just a trade association of persons that pursue certain occupations, and especially pastoralism. The same thing with Kautal Hore, to the best of my knowledge. I don't know that they apply for visas, registration, and so on and so forth. I find the direction of the U.S. policy simplistic and ridiculous. Simplistic in the sense that I'm very certain, the United States has a lot of resources, intelligence gathering, that they can distinguish between a terror organization that is a group of bandits, well, whatever ethnicity, wreaking havoc on populations, hapless, unarmed populations, and of course, versus Miyetti Allah, Kautal Hore, and any other organization that seeks to promote interest and to influence public policy. I'm sure Miyetti Allah members are themselves have been victims of the activities of bandits, terrorists, and what have you, these groups. I don't know that these groups wreaking havoc are members of Miyetti Allah. Maybe you level them, but I think it's a gross misunderstanding, gross simplification. But I also appreciate the fact that the data for such conclusions by the U.S. Policymakers, most of it came from inside. We have people advocating that for a long time from inside, including public officials misunderstanding. But of course, you know that the country is highly complex, highly diversified. Some of the problems are not unique to us. They are all around us. It's a regional problem, but I don't know, and I find it laughable that Miyetti Allah, Kautal Hore, and others will be labeled terrorist organizations. I'm sure if they were, the Nigerian government would have dealt with them directly. They are not secret, but the bandits operate from outside of the system. They operate in the bush. Miyetti Allah is in towns, is in villages, is in state capitals, and everywhere. And members are known. They hold their meetings, they elect officials, and so on. They are not a secret organization that wreak havoc. And I doubt that. I doubt that any reasonable person will label such organization as responsible for what is going on. But of course, a lot of it is a manipulation. A lot of these conclusions are a manipulation of what is happening in Nigeria. The events happen, something happens, and it's usually immediately given ethnic, religious, and others, instead of being done sheer criminality and being dealt with at that level. Part of the blame will have to go to our public policies. Our leaders, they have not been proactive. If we deal with the problem of banditry and terrorism decisively, understand it, study it, identify the factors and individuals promoting that, and being forthright and not secretive, we will not be where we are today. I'm also aware that a number of times I have read Miyetti Allah appealing for action against the bandits, appealing for clear identification of pastoralists, herders, and then the terrorists. In fact, there are a lot of studies that show that the first victims of the banditry are the pastoralists themselves. Miyetti Allah is just an association, and you can call it, in fact, it's an urban phenomenon, hardly present in the rural areas.
Okay, you've spoken about the U.S. stance regarding Miyetti Allah, but let's talk about the U.S. stance regarding these terrorists. And the U.S. is threatened to come into Nigeria. The U.S. has said that, President Trump said that Christians have been killed in Nigeria, and if the government does not fix this as quickly as possible, the U.S. will, there's a threat of invasion. What is Arewa's position regarding the U.S. statement?
First of all, let me make it clear that I'm not speaking for the Arewa Consultative Forum on this matter.
Okay.
Secondly, there is no Arewa position. You see, I would rather we talk about killings. These killings should not be, and they should have been stopped. When a dead body is confronted, it doesn't matter whether it's a Muslim or a Christian. Christians should not celebrate that a lot of the victims are Muslims. Muslims should not celebrate, as a friend of mine says, because the victims are Christians. human life is human life. You and I know from inside, I mean, if we go out, that terrorists, bandits do not make a distinction. But of course, the United States has its own interests. It has its own policies. It wants to manipulate the data. And some of the data, like I said, was provided from inside. A lot of our people have read many papers by scholars, professors, and others, saying there is a genocide in Nigeria without reference to the United Nations definition of genocide, and so on. And of course, the United States has its own interest. There have been a lot of killings in Gaza, for example. Not a single U.S. lawmaker has labeled it genocide, even as the whole world does so. So what we have is a lack of decisive action by our leaders. These killings have been going on for some time. It could have been stopped. But corruption, impunity, laissez-faire attitude, and then of course the elite were in course in our towns, in the cities. It doesn't affect us. But, you know, that lack of leadership has been our problem. If in fact we have been trying and visibly trying to deal decisively with this problem, we will not be where we are. There are, of course, international dimensions. It has been mentioned a number of times, but there is no evidence that our leaders are tackling the issue from that perspective. Rather, there is benign neglect. The general public knows that it has an international dimension, but the government appears to be deaf ears. Not just this government, successive governments, I would say, since about 2009, have treated this problem with kids' glove. And of course, it keeps growing. It kept growing, to the point now that we are reaching what social scientists call a crisis point. Something has to give. And of course, I would say with some apology that the United States is like a vulture waiting for a dead body to feast on, you know, from one country to another and so on. Now, these dead bodies of both Christians and Muslims are there, and the vulture is selective as to how to describe the situation before it goes in. Sorry to use that. It's not exactly polite, but that is exactly what it is. We are not here for politeness.
All right, so Professor, do you in any way support the U.S. Proposed invasion? Do you in any way support it, or do you think it shouldn't be considered at all?
Ridiculous. Nigeria is a sovereign country. I am a Nigerian. How can I support foreign invasion by anybody? Like I said, this problem should have been, can be, and ought to be dealt with by leadership in Nigeria. Foreign invasion for what? If you come into the city of Kaduna, the city of Yola, Maiduguri, Sokoto, Mina, Lokoja, how can you separate the Muslims from the Christians in the markets, in the motor parks, and so on? Like I said, the solution is very, as advocated by the United States, is very simple and ridiculous. And I'm sure they have intelligence that says as much. But of course, like I said, there is a dead body on ground, and vultures are waiting to feast on it.
Okay, let's...
The primary blame will go to our leaders and our lack of policy to deal decisively with this problem. Of course, a lot of people are benefiting from it. You and I know. There is a lot of misapplication of funds. There is a lot of stealing. There is no doubt about that.
You said people are benefiting from it.
Problems ourselves,
Professor,
may not need to
Professor,
will not need to come in.
Professor, you just said a lot of people are benefiting from it. In other words, you're also re-echoing what some other political experts have said. But who are the people that are benefiting from it? To the detriment of...
I don't have the intelligence, but there is...
Go on, please. All right. A little network connectivity challenge there. We hope we can get the professor back, Publicity Secretary, to the Arewa Consultative Forum. A big question there: who are the people that are benefiting from this? Oftentimes we hear statements made that there are people who are benefiting, there are people who are benefiting. Who are they? And Nigerians are asking, for how long will they keep benefiting to the detriment of a few, or to a detriment of many, while they are just a few? And who are these individuals? These are conversations that we'd like to have, because whether we like it or not, from his presence and his points being shared, he's holding the government responsible for having not done anything at all for quite a while now. Let's hopefully see if we can get him back online when he gets back to join us again to continue this conversation, Olive. It's a big one.
Yes, it is a big one. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll put a lead on the conversation with Prof regarding his thoughts about the alleged or the potential of the United States invading Nigeria to deal with our insecurity issues. We'll discuss this right after this break. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at Nigeria's insecurity challenge, the threat by the United States and the response to it by Nigeria. And so we're joined by Professor Tukur Mohammed Baba, the National Publicity Secretary of Arewa Consultative Forum. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us in the conversation this morning. I want you, before I ask the next question, to please take a look at this video. It was an interview that was had on our platform, Politics HQ, and this was what was said in the interview. We'll come back. I want your reaction.
Where have we been getting it wrong as a nation? Why are we still having this conversation even after many years and several efforts?
One of the key reasons why we are getting it wrong is because of people like Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi. In a clear case of a war, because he's talking about bloodshed, there has been bloodshed. Nigeria has been a theater of war for almost 2 decades. Possibly it is not affecting him directly because most of the casualties, most of the mass murders is that of Christians. He appears to be a negotiator, but to be very honest with you, he has advocated more for appeasing the terrorists rather than advocating justice for the victims. And I think it's important to us because I believe he's an Islamic cleric. He understands the concept of justice. How do you deal with a scenario of people raping women, people killing soldiers, people decimating homes, people sacking communities, but then the strength of your advocacy is that the government should appease them? Where in the whole world, in the history of any war, whether guerrilla warfare, whether military warfare, have you ever found a situation where there is an active bloodshed going on, and then you believe that appeasing the criminals that are carrying out these genocidal attacks and infusing them into the military will help? From the very beginning, when the notion of amnesty, de-radicalization and integration began, we have never seen a scenario where these repentant terrorists, as they call them repentant, have ever led people to their camps and they were decimated. They have been growing exponentially. They have been acquiring more arms. So that is basically the problem we are having. We are getting it wrong simply because we have managed to create a false narrative. An example is we have managed to compartmentalize terrorism or these Islamist activities to look as if it is only Boko Haram that is doing it. The reason is because the rest of the terrorist groups that are jihadist in nature have been forged into different names. For instance, he's talking about two fighting. There is no two fighting anywhere. It is important also, we would love it if you are able to have an example of one Christian militia that is operational in either Sokoto or any of the Muslim dominant state that have been raping women and killing people, then we can understand that. And at least the Muslims will equally lend their voice and say, okay, whatever it is the Americans are claiming that the Christians are suffering from, we are also suffering from it. And since it is all about eradicating terrorism, then good, come and eradicate them. But I think the problem is not just because there are foot soldiers.
That is a feedback response from yesterday. Our guest, who was a former president of the former national coordinator of the Middle Belt Patriots. His name is Zari Yusuf. Prof, you've heard what he said. I know you've spoken to the latter end of his conversation about the argument of religion, but I want you to please speak to the accusation he's made on made against Sheikh Gumi. He talked about the fact that terrorism is thriving because we have in some way normalized negotiating with terrorists. Let's get your response to what the government might refer to as a non-kinetic approach to deal with insecurity.
I think the government has been very forthcoming about the non-kinetic approach. Let me speak to his accusations against Gumi. I am not a spokesman for Gumi. I don't know him. I have read statements by him. I have listened to video clips. And I'm also aware that a lot of people, including me, have opposed. And then he has opposed his approach to the resolution of this issue. In fact, if anything, if it has gotten any mileage, would have been there. He made it once, he has been quiet for some time, and so on. It's just one. But if you take that kind of narrative, you have to take it to all others and see. Does that apply also to violence in all other parts of Nigeria, where innocent people are being killed? Like I said, my perspective is that absolutely, positively, nobody should lose his life without due process, whether they are Muslims, whatever their ethnicity, and so on. Secondly, Nigeria is too complex and has become much, much too complex for the imposition of any one religion. And if we ignore that, we will keep missing the point. What we are confronted with is sheer criminality. I'm sure if you go out on the street, you will see a lot of people, you are likely to encounter a lot of people who would say armed robbers should be rehabilitated. Of course, people can bandy about a ridiculous perspective, but that does not amount to public policy. Let me repeat, Nigeria has become far, far too complex for what you call jihad. What we have is sheer criminality. I'm sure, again, if you go out and search and talk to people who are knowledgeable in Islam and about jihad, will tell you that this does not amount to a jihad. It's sheer criminality, and we deal with it. What your speaker said about Gumi is his personal opinion. He is entitled to it. I cannot speak on that because I don't have the evidence. I don't have the contact to reach that conclusion. What I will say is it's an opinion of one person. Whether it's shared or not, I'm sure the Nigerian intelligence services are better informed about that.
Wow. All right, Prof, thank you very much for joining us. Unfortunately, there are more conversations or questions we'd like to ask, but we've unfortunately run out of time. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so very much. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Okay, we'll be moving the conversation away from insecurity to Anambra State, asking a question about the capability of Anambra having a free, fair, and credible election. As Anambra prepares to elect a new governor tomorrow, it will serve as a benchmark to assess or analyze, what the status is in Anambra State, and if INEC is currently prepared to carry out a nice election or carry out a fair election. We'll go on a very quick break, and when we come back, there's more to come this morning. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Our next story takes us to Anambra. Does Joash Amupitan have the capacity to deliver a free, fair, and credible election? As Anambra State prepares to elect a new governor tomorrow, it will serve as the first major test, just like Olive said before the break, for Professor Joash Amupitan, the newly appointed chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as he steps into the demanding role of restoring public trust in Nigeria's electoral system. The European Union on Thursday announced the deployment of 687 observers to Anambra State ahead of Saturday's governorship election under the EU Support to Democratic Governance in Nigeria program. Observers are watching how Amupitan will distinguish himself from his predecessor, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, whose tenure was marred by controversies over logistics, late delivery of materials, beavers glitches, and delayed results uploads during the 2023 general elections.
Meanwhile, Amupitan has expressed deep concerns over what he described as Anambra State's long-standing pattern of voter apathy, warning that it poses a grave threat to the state's democratic progress and the credibility of Saturday's governorship election. We'll be joined by our guest, but let's now connect with our correspondent in Anambra State, who will be bringing us updates regarding the elections. Good morning, Chinwe. Thank you for joining us this morning. What is the mood like in Anambra State? Are there genuine concerns of voter apathy, or do you see an increased desire and willingness to participate in tomorrow's election?
Good morning to you. Amazing. Well, the mood is that of calm. People are going about their normal businesses. But then I'm in front of the INEC office here in Oka, where preparations are on top gear. At this point, what is happening is that the ad hoc staff are being moved to the various local government areas where they have been posted to work in, and we have lots of security operatives here present at the INEC office. Of course, they must have also been deployed to some of these local government areas, not also forgetting that some people will be staying behind to make sure that nothing goes wrong at the end of the day. So people are willing, some people are willing to participate in the exercise tomorrow, and there are still a group of people who say they do not care what happens. So we'll have to wait until tomorrow to know whether there will be voter apathy or not. So right here, with the whole stretch of this road, we'll have only security personnel and of course ad hoc staff. There are no politicians around here at this moment. Obviously some of them, or most of them, must have moved to their various localities to go support whoever they want to in the election right now. Amazing.
Okay, all right. Chinwe, can you also let us know what plans have been made? We do hear there's a huge number of security operatives. While Austin also joined us yesterday, we got a glimpse of the security men who were on ground. Can you tell us, have you spotted either trucks or whatever security apparatus that you found within the area, the states and so on? Can you tell us more about the security plan?
Well, if I got what you said correctly, it's about security because the line was breaking. So the security is quite tense, you know, because in most parts of the state capital especially, you'd see security tightening in the roads, on the roads where vehicles are checked and made to pass through narrow paths, and you know, the people, not that they are disturbing the residents, but then there is security tightening, and I do not know what that means, because somebody had told me off camera that it looks as if we're going into a war, but then the security operators will tell you that it's part of the exercise, just to not to give in to any surprises. So they have what is it called now? They have mobilized their men to be on site. So there's nothing, they're not giving anything to chance. They want to make sure that exercise is, you know, goes on smoothly tomorrow, and that nobody is disturbed from participating and exercising their franchise.
Chinwe, thank you for joining us. We wish the Anambra all the best at the polls, and we hope that everyone comes out in their numbers to determine the fate of their future. Thank you for joining us. And now we're moving from Chinwe to speak with a former Anambra State APC governorship aspirant, Dr. Onyeka Nwafo. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. 16 governorship candidates from various political parties, including the incumbent governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, have campaigned ahead of tomorrow. So what would you say the mood is like in Anambra State in terms of the fears of voter apathy? Are those fears valid? Or do you believe that the people of Anambra, will, the people in Anambra State or in the Anambra will come out in their numbers to decide who their next governor is?
I strongly believe that tomorrow's governorship election, the people of Anambra State will come out in mass to vote, because I believe everybody has campaigned. It is left for the people to decide who they actually want to govern them for the next 4 years. So I'm not seeing any voter apathy tomorrow. I'm saying that the election of tomorrow will be free and successful.
Okay. Also, in terms of security, what is the security provision for this election, and how well do you think this will be used as a benchmark to judge the readiness of the new INEC chairman?
Currently, we have seen where they made statement that about, I think, 55,000 policemen have been deployed in Anambra State and other security agencies. So going by it, I believe that the security agencies, which themselves has a major role to play when it comes to issue of the election, I believe from what they have said that they are ready. So I think there might not be any security problem in Anambra State. But again, it's always good for them to make sure that none other actors are involved in this security issue. Let it be only the security agencies, the police, the civil defense, the military, the prisons, officials, the immigration service, the Navy, and any other, maybe DSS and any other security agencies that the government feels is supposed to be part of this election will be the only one policing, managing the whole election security in Anambra State.
Let's look at, you've talked about security, because security is very, very dire, especially in tomorrow's election. And what do you make of the huge number of security operatives that have been moved to Anambra State? I know you've talked about if only it could be handled by the security operatives. Who else do you fear that could join the fray as we look to have proper security at the polls tomorrow? Who else are you looking at that may likely join the fray of being a part of those who would secure the elections tomorrow?
On the normal, I believe that by now, that the vigilantes in Anambra State must have been disarmed, and all their rifles should have been taken from them, taken to the police station, so that there cannot be anybody asking to be any sort of security. This is an election. The only security we know that are empowered in the Constitution to manage the election are only the security apparatus in Nigeria. So I believe that by tomorrow, no other actors will be involved in this. So that's why it is important that the security agencies who have made their briefing and forget about the heavy security. Yes, I think that will give confidence to the people. Because remember, people are going to leave their house and go to the polling unit to vote. So I think they need to see that as from the point of their house to the polling unit closest to them, that they will feel safe. Because I don't believe that those heavy security will get the polling unit. No, they should be or maybe on the road, 3 meters from the polling unit. So the heavy security, I don't think it's a problem. Remember, Anambra has witnessed security issues from the past. So I think that this security being posted or being drafted to Anambra for the election is going to give them the voters the confidence for them to know that this election will be peaceful, not even to talk of free, but peaceful, because no voter will want to lose his or her life in the course of going to vote.
Okay, judging from the last gubernatorial elections in Anambra State, what are some of the wrongs and the anomalies? I mean, you were very involved in that election. What were some of the wrongs that you saw at the last Anambra gubernatorial election that you like to point out and ensure that we do not see tomorrow?
As some of these things goes by, you know very well that nobody, whether you are the governor or you're a commissioner or your things, your duty, whatever portfolio you occupy, ends immediately the election starts. So the issue of interference, the issue of people trying to move from one place or the other to go and influence one thing or the other, the issue of vote buying. Because you see, in the last election, there were issues of vote buying. So this time around, I'm calling on security agencies to arrest anybody you see with cash. You don't need cash to come to the polling unit. Some amount of money you don't need for you to be seen with you at the polling unit. So if you see people having up to 100,000, so and so forth, what are they doing with this? Arrest them, because these are signs of them going to purchase votes. Vote buying was so much in the last election. And the issues of people trying to act where they are not supposed to. I believe there are issues to this that there are already party agents who are going to be at the polling unit. But you see people who are not even party agents going to interfere, going to market people, vote for this party, vote for this party. These things are all needed there. So you said these are some of the things that affected the last election. So I believe that INEC and security agencies should take care of some of these things. And also, immediately this voting are done, this commission should start immediately. Let it be transparent, because these are some of the problems that is going to be an impediment to this election if it's not taken care of.
Are you worried about the fact that we still have not been able to achieve electronic transmission of results? Because this would have been a good litmus test, especially for the new INEC boss, to have reintroduced the electronic transmission of results right on time, so that the Anambra can actually see from the get-go how their candidates are doing in terms of number, in terms of those who are voting for them, and so on. Do you think this would play a major role in affecting what is regarded as voter apathy?
Well, definitely, it is going to affect the election. But one thing I believe is that INEC know about it. And INEC knows that this is the will of the people we are talking about. And I know that things have been put in place already to make sure that we don't go back to the same thing that happened. And for me, INEC said they are ready, and I believe them, as they said they are ready to conduct this election. And you know that definitely the Nigerians are looking out to INEC to see what they are going to do in this election. And I have confidence in the new INEC chairman. And I know that this election, Anambra election, is something we want to let the world, let Nigeria and other stakeholders know that this election is a serious one and is what is going to happen in the next election. So I guess they have put things in place in order to make sure that this particular issue is resolved.
Okay. We have our correspondent, I'm told, so we'll just ask you to please hold on a little while. Victor, by the way, is live there as well to ensure that we give you a fuller coverage of the Anambra gubernatorial elections. We did speak with our first correspondent yesterday, Austin Azu's on the ground. We also spoke to Chinwe as well. And now we do have Victor. And by the way, Victor, it's bright and shiny as we can see. Can you tell us what's really going on and where are you at the moment?
So I'm currently at Amobia, the State Police Command Center. And do not forget that the election is just about in 24 hours time. And I tell you that this is the first time we're going to see, in recent times, the highest number of police or security operatives deployed for such an election. We have, I think, about 50,000 personnel. That's quite a huge number. That tells you how much the police operatives and other security agencies are actually really prepared for these elections. And this is, of course, I'm with the Commissioner of Police, Abayomi Shogunle, who is, of course, is in charge of the state's election. Will we bring us up to speed exactly what is the next thing? Have we deployed officers to the respective polling stations or election venues? What do we expect in the next 24 hours? If there ain't nothing he needs to tell us, he'll be doing that shortly. Thank you so much, CP Shogunle, for joining us. So you need to begin by telling us exactly what is the next thing? What are your plans? Have you begun deploying your officers to the respective stations? Or what other things you need to tell us for Nigerians to know on how much prepared are you for this election on Saturday?
Thank you very much. Regarding the deployments, we're completely done with the deployments. We have deployed to all the 21 local government areas in Anambra State, and the police officers and other security agencies that will be moving to the over 5,000 polling units across Anambra State are also on standby to move to the polling units very early tomorrow morning together with the materials. And at the head of this deployment of police officers, we have DIG Ben Okolo, FDC, who is the supervising DIG for this election. And he's seen to the effective deployment of our officers. So, in summary, the Nigerian Police Force and all the security agencies, we are ready and we are fully deployed for tomorrow's election.
So let's talk again the flashpoint in Anambra State. Prior to the election, there's been insinuations about how prepped up or how prepared are the police operators, security agencies, knowing full well that Anambra State, like any other eastern state, could be, in terms of security, people feel that are we going to be able to handle the incursions that might be coming from non-state actors? Tell us, because there's been a lot of fear, basically, because we really can't blame them. So on that aspect, would you say you've gotten this under, sorted out?
Yes, there were flashpoints, and based on the intelligence that we gathered, we set up what we called pre-election clearance operations, and that started last month in October, and we wrapped it, we elevated that operation from the 1st of November this year, and as we speak, we've been able to neutralize those threats. So the issue of flashpoints is now something of the past, and I can confirm to you that with what we have on ground, elections will go ahead in all the 21 local government areas in Anambra State, and election will go ahead in all the over 5,000 polling units in Anambra State. Only 2 polling units would election not take place. And what's the reason is because there is 0 registered voters for those 2 polling units. So all the polling units come tomorrow, election will go on. We have massive deployment, and we don't expect, based on the operations we've had, we don't expect any disruption from any set of people. And if at all, if any group try to test our will, we have appropriate measures to keep them in check.
All right, before I let you go, CP, you might want to list the security agency that will be assisting you in this in election preparation, all of that. Again, I understand that the initial deployment was about 45 or over 40,000, then increased to over 55,000. Could this be because it's special, it's unique, particularly because the security situation that you might not want to be caught off guard?
Well, for the security agencies that are providing security during this election, we have what we call the Interagency Consultative Forum on Security of Election. And these agencies include the Nigerian Police Force as the lead agency, and then we have the military, which comprises of the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, the Nigerian Air Force. We also have the DSS, we have the NSCDC, we have the Immigration Service, the Customs Service, the Correctional Service, we have the Road Safety, we have the EFCC, we have the ICPC, we have the Fire Service, we have the NIA, we have the DIA. So these are the federal agencies that are permitted or allowed under the federal laws of Nigeria to provide security during elections. We have made it clear to all vigilante groups in Anambra State, particularly the Udu, Gachi, and all other vigilante groups and state security apparatus, that they have no role in this election, and they have told their leadership, have told their personnel to stay off anywhere voting is taking place. So my message to Indi Anambra is that for those that have their PVC, who are registered voters, please come out tomorrow morning, go to your polling units, cast your vote. Your vote will be protected. I wish I could state this last one in Igbo language, but for those that will help me to interpret, please interpret it that go out and vote, your votes will be protected.
Well, thank you so much, CP Shogunle. And that's it. These faces are all smiling faces. In the next 24 hours or less, it's going to be showdown in Anambra State. Anambra State happened to be the second in terms of the highest local government in the southeast. Maybe that's why we have almost 60,000 personnel deployed for this election. So let's see how it goes. We're still here. We'll bring you more updates, Joe Hansen. Like he said, do interpret that in Igbo language. I'm pretty sure they will understand that from you in the Lagos studio. And that's it.
Thank you, Victor Mbadike, for bringing us updates.
Victor.
We're definitely following up with the Anambra elections, and we're glad that there's security on ground. Anambra, please come out and vote. We'll be back after this break, and Breakfast Central continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. It is time to review the front pages. And joining us is, a very special guest who has been away. But before we review the front pages, let's still bring you update regarding the Anambra elections. Our man, Austin Azu, is on standby to bring us updates as well. Good morning, Austin.
Nigerians. Of course, we are still at the election. We are in Oka, precisely the capital of Anambra State, where the voting material, sensitive voting materials were distributed yesterday from the CBN's office and onward movements to the various local government areas. And it's expected that the voting materials might have arrived those local governments as at now. So this morning we went to the INEC office where we saw some ad hoc staff who were trained by the commission equipped for this election, but obviously some of them have not seen their names and they are still waiting for the batch B list according to what they said, so that they'll be able to confirm their names before they were moved. And this ad hoc staff comprises POs, assistant POs and other ad hoc staff that will be conducting this election. However, we have some respondents here to talk to us.
All right, Austin, if I will interject at this point before we speak to the respondents, I wanted you to give us a sense so we can wrap up the conversation, Mr. Munyeka Nwafo. So you've heard the reports from our correspondents about the situation in Anambra in terms of the security, the police and all the security architecture that has been deployed for this. Do you feel very confident about that? Also, what are your concerns regarding the decisions that might, or the parameters that might influence voters' decision tomorrow at the polls?
I've heard what the Commissioner of Police said, and I don't think I have any reason to doubt it. He also mentioned the name of the DIG that is in charge of the election, DIG Ben Okoro, and I know that two of them will be able to handle the security situation of the election. And he has also said that he has been told all the vigilante, whatever in Anambra, to stay off. Not just staying off from the polling unit, stay off entirely from the election. Not just stay off from the polling unit, stay off. Go back to your office and wait till after the election is finished and the result is announced. Not the election finished. When the result is announced, before you can take over your job as vigilante. Because I believe that once there is security of the election, of the government, people feel free, and nobody goes to snub results, and nobody goes to attack voters or so and so. I believe that this election will be free and fair. Because security is one issue that can be a problem to any election you conduct. I have no reason to now be cheating, and I believe that he has studied or he has been briefed very well and he knows what he's supposed to do.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to us, Dr. Munyeka Nwafo. We hope that tomorrow would indeed go smoothly, and hopefully we'll also have you to join the team because, News Central, we are who we are. Of course, the best in ensuring that we give full coverage to every single elections. Thanks for your time, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. We do have joining us in the studio, just as Olive wanted to introduce to him, our international journalist of repute, who's here with us. But before we introduce him, let's quickly also join Austin Azu, who was giving us an update as well. Austin, you talked about the materials arriving early, and you also wanted to ask one or two persons a few questions. Can you tell us how prepared the environment looks in terms of people can have a sense of something brewing? Do you find that atmosphere likely to be so? Or is it quite different, where people are just going about their normal businesses, they don't really care?
Okay, Joe, I will confirm this for you for free that we have spoken to a lot of respondents here in the state capital and beyond, and the atmosphere seems very charged, and a lot of them are so enthusiastic about the election, and they are fully ready and prepared. And all we have been saying, all we have been hearing from them remains that they are fully ready for the election. All they are just waiting for is just for INEC and security agencies to ensure that their mandate is being affirmed. But for what of time, because with the guests we have here, we are in a very busy area. Precisely, we are at a terminal where we want to speak to some of these bus drivers. All right, Chinedweze, please come forward. All right, Chinedweze, okay, look at the camera. How prepared are you for tomorrow's election?
We are going to do the election tomorrow, actually. We are going to do it.
Yes, you are not INEC, but as an individual, how prepared are you for the election tomorrow?
We are going to vote. Because we have our voters card. We will vote to the right person we want. We will vote.
Okay, now, what are the worries you have as an individual about this election? What have been your fears so far?
I don't have much fear in this election because I know that our government is still there.
Sorry. Now, I'm asking you, you don't have any fear in terms of security, in terms of INEC? Do you have any fear for them?
No. I see some securities around yesterday. I believe that everywhere tomorrow will be okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Chinedu. All right, thank you very much. Okay, we have, according to INEC, of course, they have trained over 500, they have over 500 journalists will be deployed for this election. So I have, Ewa, please, wait. Ewa, please come forward. Okay, a journalist here to bring us to speed. How prepared is she for this election? Okay, how prepared are you for this election?
We are well prepared for this election as Anambra State journalists covering this election. Before now, we've done our accreditation with INEC, and the tags have been released since on Monday, all through Thursday, and we've had series of training sessions with international bodies, IPC, Yaga Africa, IPAC. A whole lot of them have been here, engaging stakeholders, letting us know the requirements, the prerequisite for this election. And then we've also, as journalists, we've had stakeholders engagements with the police, with the INEC, and even the political aspirants. They've also engaged journalists. So the Anambra and journalists here in Anambra are well prepared for this election because over 500 journalists have been accredited for this exercise in Anambra State.
Okay, thank you very much. We look forward to see you on the field, and of course, as my colleague, just be safe wherever you find yourself. All right, Chibo, please come forward. Okay, Chibo is one of those who will be going to the poll tomorrow. Okay, Chibo, how prepared are you for tomorrow's election, and what are your worries about the election so far?
Well, I'm well prepared as a person, as an Anambran. It's my right to vote, and the candidate of my choice, and the promise they made for us. And another thing, my worry is let the vote count and let INEC do the needful. Give people their choice. That's the only thing I can say now. But Anambra is prepared.
Okay, looking at the atmosphere now, have you seen the presence of security personnel in terms of them showing forces? What is your engagement with them? Have you encountered them? Have you discussed anything with them?
Yeah. Since yesterday, they are patrolling. They are giving people assurance that everything will move smoothly tomorrow. And hopefully, let the hoodlums mind their business and do the needful. And let Anambrians do the needful too. Let's come out, our vote must count.
Okay, before I let you go, do you, in your area or people you have discussed with, do you think they are scared of this presence of security personnel in the state here, with their movements and so on and so forth?
No. Nobody is scared of any personal security in Anambra. Mostly in Dunukofia, where I come from. Everything is calm.
Okay, thank you very much, Chibok. Yeah. God bless you for speaking with us. All right, Olive and Joe, you have heard it from the respondents here. They are quite hopeful and expectant that INEC and security agencies will be able to do the needful to enable their mandate count. And of course, the journalist who spoke earlier on, that's Ukba Eva, actually affirmed that over 500 journalists has been accredited for this exercise, and it means that you will see a lot of us on the field to give you accurate reports and very detailed report, and of course you will hear it from us on the field. So back to you in the studio.
For bringing us updates. It looks like all the T's have been crossed and all the I's have been dotted, and that we're ready from INEC, from journalists, and even the citizens seem very ready. We don't want to hear that what we heard that is different from what we got by tomorrow. Thank you, Austin. Do stay safe. Let's bring the conversation back into the studio with our international analyst. He's here. He's been away for a while, and we know that you've missed him. We are very happy to have Habib Aruna back in the studio. Welcome back.
International journalist of repute.
For us, so let's get your thoughts first on the Anambra elections and your expectations for tomorrow.
Yes, all eyes on Anambra State. This thing has been on the past 1 year. This is the big test for the new INEC chairman, and I hope we get it right. You know, one of my colleagues, my friend, is the chief secretary to the INEC boss, and I am expecting a free and fair, transparent, credible elections. The process has been a bit zigzag, but all in all, it's been transparent. People are hopeful, people are enthusiastic, and they are eager to go and vote. From what you saw, this is your report. These are people on ground. They have no fear. And security operatives are on ground, and NEC officials are on ground. The materials have been on ground for the past 1 week. So there should be no excuse whatsoever. And I was talking to a guy while I was waiting for this program that can imagine that Nigeria are all waiting for one state elections. You know, so the stakes are high. The stakes are high, and I hope that both the electorate, those involved in elections, and the stakeholders, they will do their own role, they play their own role very well in line with the Constitution and the law of the land.
All right.
I'm hopeful for tomorrow.
Okay. Let's go straight to our papers. Let's start off with the Punch. The Punch newspaper will be our very first paper. You can call in if you can. The phone number will be shown on the screen pretty soon. The front page there says, Trump threats. Tinubu rallies foreign allies as North rejects Sharia ban. Federal government vows to crush terror networks. NEF, ACF reject U.S. move to outlaw Sharia. That's one of the biggest stories. I believe you are very much in tune to it. Anambra poll, INEC distributes sensitive materials. 55,000 policemen mobilized. We did take that story. We do have our correspondents who are there live. All three of them spoke to us this morning. Vehicle imports slide 10% on weak consumer spending. Vehicle imports slide 10%. Okay, that's another one. Pretty Mike gets 50 million naira bail for alleged drug offense. A newly inaugurated Tinubu campaign officer demolished, campaign office demolished in Benue, and APC Wike blasts PDP over U.S. embassy. Let's leave all these stories. So many stories. Let's start because of time. Let's focus on Trump threats. We haven't heard your own side of view, especially what you think about it. But then again, the president, during the Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday, National Executive Council meeting yesterday, did say that they will be looking forward to foreign allies to crush terrorism. What's your take on the Trump threats and the response from the Nigerian president?
Don't forget that we discussed the issues of genocide. This is a program about a month ago.
Absolutely.
When that comedian raised the issue, it was at the same time also amplified by Senator Cruz of Texas.
Absolutely.
Nigeria did not take notice of the importance of the implications that will cause the nation and the consequences. We not quite look at it as something that is a very big deal. So we did not have time. We reacted very late when the man charged Trump now came up with his number, that this has been going on. Trump is under pressure from the evangelicals, to that. Last time I checked, Trump is not the head of Christendom. It's the Pope. It's the Pope that symbolizes Christendom. And Pope has not said a word. Pope was in Nigeria. Pope was some time in Nigeria.
Although the Pope did say something some months back when he talked about the killing.
Not this ash,
yes,
I don't think Trump is is getting the right
data, information.
The right data and information what is going on in Nigeria. It's not, you know. But at the same time, we've said it on this program. If you look at the pictures and videos of killings going on in Benue, you know, in part of Southern Kaduna, in Plateau, there's no way you won't raise eyebrow. Now what is going on here? The killings in the north, you know, they are Muslims, they are quickly buried. But in the Christian part of the country, particularly in the middle belt, these people, they mourn their death, and by so doing raising tension, both internally and externally. And these are what Nigerians overseas and even in the country are amplifying for the world to see that these people are killing Christians. And when you see them killing Christians, these are areas in Plateau and Benue. That's what is going on. So when Trump is now saying that Nigeria should put its house in order, Nigeria should stop killing Christians, or they will come and stop them from doing it. To me, you know, it has many dimensions. The first one is that it's a reality check on our leaders. We've heard this so much about people sponsoring terrorism, sponsoring banditry. Who are they? Who are the sponsors? Are they spirit? Who are they not being persecuted? That is one. Two is the fact that the war on terror in Nigeria, if you look at reports, this is now being a racket, becoming a racket, the war on terror. People are saying that this is what is using it for business. You know. Then the third part is that, is the government doing enough to really fight this terror? Are we doing enough to fight terror? Are we not just using a small screen? Then the fourth part is the difficulty the federal government will face in addressing these key things because of the next election, to have a prediction on the next election. So the president is handicapped in dealing with the Muslim North, who are fighting back. The Muslim North.
Do you think so?
Yeah, absolutely. The president is handicapped.
Can you draw a line? Can you draw a picture of that?
The president's power to really prosecute this war against terror is limited because of political expedience. And that is why they are already saying, the SCF and the northern power bloc, that really is not about Sharia, not even go there. But Trump and his government, they have a duty. The duty is about their interest. And this interest is preventing you from killing Christians and making sure that people, if you have access in America, those access will be frozen. You cannot travel to America. And if Trump takes that step, the other Western nations will always follow suit. So we're in a big problem here. A big problem here. And the idea of simplifying it and saying that because they're also killing Muslims, it's only Christians they're killing Muslims. That is, we're simplifying it. We are saying that implicitly that
we've allowed the killings to continue for so long.
So there's a problem.
It doesn't matter who's being killed.
It's a reality check. But there's corruption in the fight of banditry and terrorism. And at the same time, there's no effective leadership. And lastly, Nigeria should put its house together and at these things.
Okay. I want us to take another story quickly on the front page of the Daily Trust. Of course, the big story is U.S. threat, Tinubu response to Trump. Despite peace deal, bandits killed 2 Katsina community leaders. Chief Imam killed over alleged witchcraft inquirer. Cameroon's Paul Biya sworn in for 8th term. Lagos gets new federal varsity amidst 7-year ban. Let's pause there. So, Godswill Akpabio had announced at yesterday's plenary that the Lagos State is getting the Lagos State, let me get the exact name of the institution. Yes, the Federal University of Science and Technology, EPE. So it was signed, they signed the Federal University of Science and Technology, EPE Establishment Bill 2025 into law. Because that some months back, there was a pause, there was a moratorium. We talked about it on the show, how they had said that we need to put a pause on new universities, polytechnics, and tertiary institutions, the establishment of new ones in Lagos for 7 years, so that we can properly work on what's currently existing. So how do you balance that vis-a-vis this latest development?
From the look of things and from what I read, from what I got yesterday, it won't be a new university. It's already an established institution. They just elevate it to be a university, you know. But what you said is also very instructive. That the federal government has said that they will put a stop, a ban on new universities. So why this one now coming in? I think they will best explain by the minister, and those involved. But I think when a policy is made, when you make a pronouncement, right, it should be followed. There should be consistency in government policies and programs. But I don't think it's a brand new setup that we spend money on. I think it's upgrading an institution that already exists.
It's upgrading.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it have specified there that is an upgrade?
I'm only giving you an information that I got yesterday.
Yes.
But they need to confirm it. Anyway.
I mean, the Daily Trust reached out to their representative, their media and press representative, and they said they'll get back to them. They haven't gotten that. But let's still look at the front page of the Daily Trust. At the top of the paper, we can see the story. 3 teachers attend to 207 pupils in FCT school. So this is a terrible reality. How can 3 teachers attend to all? Anyway, we'll come back to that. 15% tariff. Petrol may cost 1,028 naira per litre. Diesel 1,194. You see, we're going back again. Let's actually even stop there.
No. That is the price we pay for regulating the industry. The price will go up and go down. But we should not honestly be raising eyebrow on all these things. Anytime price increases. But even though we are feeling the pain, but thank God we have a refinery here. We have a refinery in Nigeria, in Lagos. We are not importing it. So there's no way the price will go up. It will go up, and at the same time it will go down. That is the price that we pay.
Which refinery are you speaking about?
Sorry?
Which refinery are we speaking about?
That's the refinery.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to.
That's the refinery. Even though I'm not particularly happy that one man will control all these things. One man's interest. The man is a businessman, but it's also good for us.
You're hanging our fate as a nation on Dangote refinery. Dangote is a private.
But also forget that Dangote can be regulated.
He's a private individual.
But it can be regulated. So, but it's in the best interest of the government to play safe. This 15% is in the interest of Dangote, But at the same time, they also help in making sure that the system is regulated so that Nigeria will benefit. So Nigeria will not lose out.
Okay.
But it's the regulation. It fit itself.
So this 1,100 and something naira it might climb up to.
It's a possibility, but at the same time, there's a possibility that it also come down.
There's no smoke without fire. It's hard in Nigeria for an announcement to be made about something that could happen and it doesn't happen, especially when it comes to increasing prices. So there's the tariff, the $11 tariff
added to our focus should continually be on the fact that subsidies have been removed. The federal government removed subsidies. Is it percolating to people? Are people benefiting? What is the benefit of that subsidy removal on the welfare of the people? That is the focus. Because they have removed these things since. And Nigeria benefited from it. The rich are getting richer. People in Abuja are not feeling it. They are flaunting their riches, where poverty is clearly evident among many Nigerians. So Nigeria should continue to insist that the money that was removed from subsidy should be used to ameliorate the sufferings of Nigerians. That is very, very important.
Okay, let's look at the Nigerian Tribune. You've talked about if Nigerians are feeling the impact of this. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, the top right corner is a very important story. We're back there again. Wale Edun says, the finance minister says, the economy rebounding, inflation easing, says finance minister. If you look at the rider to that story, the Federal Executive Council on Thursday has approved 2 major external loan facilities totaling $396 million to support critical humanitarian and health projects in Nigeria's northern Nigeria. We're back there again. Your reactions?
I'm not only comfortable when you mention this issue of loan. Because when Obasanjo was there, no matter what you say about Obasanjo, I wouldn't imagine a U.S. president threatening Nigeria if Obasanjo was the president. I want it on record. I wouldn't imagine a U.S. president threatening Nigeria if Obasanjo was Nigeria's president. It will happen. He has the cloud and everything.
I mean, look at the numbers, just to quickly clarify.
This morning, some guys were flaunting, posting a picture of Obasanjo addressing the world at the G7 meeting in Berlin. And at the back of Obasanjo were George Bush, Putin, and the rest. Obasanjo was wearing Agbada. That was Nigeria's in the sun. We have a time in the sun. You know, when you are borrowing, and Obasanjo paid all this.
Paid all this loans back. Some of them were
money.
Yeah.
So why we keep on borrowing? I thought they said they have removed subsidy. So we have more money in our coffers. So why does he borrow this money?
$300 million for World Bank credit to support internally displaced persons. Second approval is for a combined $96 million credit from the Islamic Development Bank, ISDB, and the African Development Bank, with $50 million and $46 million respectively allocated for the Sokoto Health Infrastructure Project. The Sokoto State government will also contribute counterpart funding.
When the government preoccupation is largely on borrowing.
And the IDP camps.
And passing the people.
And there's a lot of...
How do we progress?
There's a lot of cries from the IDP camp that they are living in a very poor state.
And these are some of the pictures that people are posting.
Yeah.
That get the Americans infuriated.
But we can't not report that because it is a reality.
Nigeria, you see, you cannot be hiding under one finger when you are fighting terrorism. That's my brother. That's why I said it's a reality check on our leaders. What Trump is doing. Everyone has his own agenda.
Yeah.
But it's a reality check that these guys should put your house together. There's corruption in the fight of terrorism. There is mismanagement in the fight of terrorism. There's lack of leadership in the fight of terrorism. That is what this American listening is saying, which I applaud. But at the same time, when we are pushing people out of their houses to go and stay at IDP camp, I'm taking care of them. The whole world will not be looking at you while you're maltreating them.
We are not more Nigerian than the Nigerians living in the IDP camp, and they deserve a decent quality of life like every one of us also deserve that. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you back. Audience, our YouTube, we can see Mokunye Chukwuemeka says, Tinubu is no Obasanjo, can never be and will never be. Hey. He then says, with the preparations, we will still hear that voting materials did not arrive in certain locations on time. I wish Anambra people well. A test for the new INEC chairman, he says. And Garba Yakubu says, Professor, talking of sovereignty with safety, I don't know if leaders lead dead people or people who are healthy and alive. And speaking in reference to the interview we had with the National Publicity Secretary, former National Publicity Secretary of the Iowa Consultative Forum. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Our YouTube audience, thank you. To our guests who've joined us physically and virtually, thank you as well. We'll be back again on Monday. Remember, tomorrow, Breakfast Extra continues with the conversations. We also will be bringing you live updates from Anambra State regarding the gubernatorial elections. I am Olive MOD.
And I'm Joe Hansen. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again same time next week, Monday, but join Breakfast Extra, which starts tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.